Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. My name is Stephanie. I am a life and relationship coach. If you are a subscriber, thank you guys for joining me for another video. And if you are new to this channel, please click the subscribe button down below. We post videos I mean me. I post videos every week ranging from a ton of different topics, from emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, learning how to really love yourself, learning how to heal. Really, this channel is just about learning how to be emotionally and mentally healthy. So this is where we're going to learn how to take the best care of ourselves to create the best life possible and actually enjoy this ride that we're on called life. So what I want to do in this video is I want to go over narcissistic relationships, and really about the relationships, what I want to talk about is closure and how we can get closure, how closure sometimes tends to be like the most difficult thing when we're coming out of these really abusive and toxic relationships. So for me, I had to really kind of go back in time and remember like what were the things that I really struggled with when I was coming out of this relationship in terms of closure, because the long story short is you're not going to get the closure that you want to get out of this relationship. So normal, healthy relationships, when they end, even if one person fell out of love with the other person, even if one person maybe cheated on the other person, whatever, there's some kind of like guilt, there's some kind of mourning, there's some kind of feeling and humanness to the fact that this relationship is ending. I could be the one ending it, but the relationship's ending, and I want to give the respect that this relationship deserves. I'm going to give my future ex-partner the respect that they deserve and do it in a mature and healthy way. Not the case, not going to happen. So let's just get that right out of the way. What you're really hoping to get is a person that comes to you, ends the relationship in a mature way, in a caring way, someone who has empathy, someone who's going to end the relationship and not be abusive and hurtful and possibly throwing their new relationship in your face. So all of these things that you sometimes go through when you are ending a relationship with someone who's narcissistic, it's very different dealing with this type of personality than dealing with a normal, healthy person that perhaps just realizes, you know what, I love you, I'm not in love with you, and I just don't think that we're right for each other. And maybe you can't come to terms with that right then in this moment, but looking back, you can say, you know what, you're right, we actually weren't really right for each other. This relationship, completely different. So something that's really important to understand when you're coming out of these relationships, a lot of the reasons why you're not going to get the closure that you need, you're not going to get the person that comes to you and says things in a very kind and loving way, is because this person is an abuser, they're a taker. And so by really giving you closure, that really is ending the relationship, like really putting like a stamp on it. And this person doesn't really want to end the relationship because they still want to use you for what they want to get out of you. Now, that may not be an actual relationship. It could be manipulation. It could be, if I really give this person closure, then I can't really love bomb her anymore. Like I can't, or him, I can't really keep coming back and forth in their life. And so by not giving you closure, it sometimes leaves the door open for, let's talk about this more, let's work on this again. Or there's back and forth that sometimes happens when you're in these abusive relationships. So now if I don't give you what it is that you need, then going no contact or not seeing you or speaking to you, like I said, it doesn't put that stamp on it and it leaves the door open. The other thing with closure is when you're dealing with this type of personality is, especially if perhaps you're the one ending the relationship with a narcissist, what this means is you are not seeing this person for how they want to be seen. So long story short is you're no longer a good source of narcissistic supply. So if you're not a good source of supply, whether you're ending the relationship because you're like, you know what, I'm seeing things that I don't really like anymore and it's time to nip this in the bud and it's time to end this relationship. So you have seen this person for who they are and you don't like it and you're ending the relationship. Not a good source of supply. If you perhaps are being discarded or the narcissist is leaving you, you, on some level, are no longer a good source of supply. Maybe you've become too needy. Maybe, quite frankly, you're having nervous breakdowns. Maybe you know, your whole world is wrapped around this person. Maybe you're starting to kind of like try to hold the person accountable for their actions and how they contribute to the relationship. So because you're starting to do all of these things didn't mean that you wanted to end the relationship, but you're just in a normal relationship where there's give and take and compromise and communication and accountability and things like that. This person wants nothing to do with that. So again, you're no longer a good source of supply. So not being able to have that end of the relationship conversation and really saying, you know what, I love you, I still care about you, just doing things in a very healthy and mature way when we do end relationships, whether we are the ones ending them or if someone is ending the relationship with us, because they can't have those conversations, they don't want to do those actions. In their mind, it's almost like a form of punishment for not being able to give them what it is that they needed. So narcissists are very, very vindictive and they're very childlike. So like any child, if a child is not getting their way, you're going to get some backlash from that child. And it's no different when dealing with someone who's narcissistic. So like I said, when two mature people decide, okay, we're gonna end this relationship, or if one person decides to end this relationship, they're gonna do it in a very healthy, tactful, sensitive, loving way, hopefully, because they understand that this news is probably news to this person that I'm in a relationship with, right? Maybe they don't know that the relationship's gonna end, maybe they don't think that there's a problem, so it's gonna be done in a very like tasteful, kind way. So you're not going to get that because they wanna punish you for all the things that you did wrong in the relationship. So by not giving you the closure that you need, a lot of this also is about control, and it's about control and it's about narcissistic supply. So if I leave the window open and I don't do the closure thing and I just kind of like bounce, I ghost, I do it in a very hurtful way, it leaves, in their mind, it leaves the person still thinking about them, still thinking about this relationship, still pondering over why can't I get closure. And in their mind, they want that. They like that. Like, remember, narcissists love attention, whether it's positive attention or negative attention. They love drama. So it makes them feel important. So without giving you the things that they know that you really want or need in order to kind of move on and just like be done with it, that is a form of punishment. And again, it is a form of control. And again, it is a form of narcissistic supply because they're getting supply from you. They know that you're pondering this, that you're thinking about it, that you're not happy, that now you're upset because you're not getting what you need, you know, out of the ending of this relationship. And maybe you're even starting to react to the narcissist and not responding to them because you're so angry because how dare you do it in this way? How dare you just leave me for someone else? How dare you just go no contact? How dare you just bring this up out of the blue after like 25 years of marriage and end this relationship? Because this is being done, it kind of boosts up that ego. Again, you're dealing with someone who is empty. They have no sense of self. They have no confidence. They're severely, severely insecure. I mean, on a very, really unhealthy level, where they constantly need validation that they're important. And again, that could be negative or positive. The next thing with the closure is a lot of narcissists sometimes, especially the ones that end the relationships themselves and they do it abruptly out of nowhere, they need to create a story as to why they're ending this relationship to family, to friends, to coworkers, to other people around them. Because a lot of people from the outside looking in are gonna say, how could you have left that relationship? Like, what was wrong? You just got married. You just had a baby. You've been together for 30 years. Like, and although, of course, we're all adults to know, okay, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, a lot of the times, a narcissist has to come up with a smear campaign. They have to come up with reasons so they can convince themselves that their decision is one that is best for them, that it is the best decision. So they have to conform these plots and these stories and kind of like start planting the seed across the board to family, friends, coworkers as to what really was going on in the relationship and how you're to blame. And now when you don't start getting the closure that you need and you begin reacting in a negative way, you're just basically feeding into all of the seeds that are being planted, and you're now becoming the character that they need you to be. So everyone believes that smear campaign. So everyone believes that story that they're saying. So it's so incredibly hurtful to not be able to get closure out of someone that you shared a life with, you shared a period of time with, you shared children with, you shared a marriage with. But when you're dealing with this type of mentally ill person, it's so important to say, you know what? I'm not getting the closure that I need. So now this becomes all about me. And it becomes about me being by myself and learning to accept that I'm never going to fully get what it is that I'm really hoping to get out of this relationship or the ending of this relationship, which is a human being. The other reason why you're really never going to get closure is that empathy. So we all know number one trait of someone who is narcissistic is someone who lacks empathy. So if he or she is unable to put themselves in your shoes and understand, wow, like if I was in her shoes or his shoes and this is what was happening to me, like how would that make me feel? And really kind of sitting in a space for someone else other than myself, we wouldn't even be here having this conversation. So because this person lacks this number one thing that makes all of us human, because they lack that inside, you're never gonna get someone that's gonna be able to say, you know what? You're right. Like, I need to do this in a very loving way. I need to be gentle. I need to be kind. I can't be vindictive. I shouldn't be throwing my new relationship in this person's face because that is so incredibly hurtful. So because you're not dealing with that type of person, you're dealing with someone who's just very, very selfish. They want to do what they want to do in the moment. They want to hurt you because you were no longer a good source of supply. You're not giving them what it is that they need. They're feeling out of control, and that's where the vindictive behavior comes in. And sometimes the vindictive behavior is just not giving you the one thing that they know that you would really need, which is, hey, I'm sorry, which is, hey, you know, I don't want this relationship to end, but we both know it needs to end, and really doing things in just a kind human way. So how do we move on when we can't get closure? So like I said, throughout this video, one of the biggest things is you have to be able to give yourself that love and that acceptance. And a lot of it is grieving. It's grieving who you thought someone was, what you thought they were even capable of giving, and that they're not able of giving it to you. And it's also really importantly, seeing someone for who they are, meaning the behavior that you're getting is someone who's mentally ill. The behavior that you're seeing, even though it's extremely hurtful, if you just remove that hurt, that ego a little bit from the situation, you'll see someone for exactly who they are, who's someone who's narcissistic, completely insecure, completely lacks empathy, someone who is definitely mentally ill. And I guess when you start to kind of look at them in that sense, not that we're gonna have such compassion for the fact that they're so traumatized and damaged in this sense that they can't even recognize this unhealthy behavior, we're not going to do that, but we're also not going to take things that they do so personally, where we ponder over it and we think about it all the time. Why are they doing this? How could they do this? We slowly, again, we grieve, absolutely, but we start to kind of like remove ourselves from the situation and kind of see it for what it is and understand that you're not even dealing with someone who's at an adult level. You may be looking at a physical adult, but you're dealing really with a child. And you can't get angry with someone who is that disturbed in the head that they wouldn't be able to come to you with love and compassion and honor what it is you had and end things in a very mature and loving way. So I hope that that has helped you kind of understand a little bit as to why closure is so not going to happen in these relationships, and really what are the things that you have to do to give yourself the closure that you need. And one of the things is really, really moving on with your life. And it's a process, and it's definitely something that we teach on this channel, and it's definitely something that I teach in my private coaching. So if you are interested in either of those things, learning more about coaching, I will link that down below. If you are not yet following me on Instagram, I will link that over here as well. And if you do enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week.